Hi, my name is Amber O'Quinn. I'm the Individual Placement Coordinator for the Utah Conservation Corps. I'm here today to welcome you to the Individual Placement Program with the UCC and introduce you to a couple of platforms that will help you be successful throughout your term. The first is IPT, where you will track your hours. The second is My.AmeriCorps, that we will onboard and exit you from your term. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me after this orientation. Thanks and welcome to the UCC. Take a second to go grab something to take notes, a pen and paper if you haven't already. Who do you belong to? AmeriCorps is a national service program funded at the federal level. This funding assists local programs like the UCC to support AmeriCorps service positions that address local community needs. The Utah Conservation Corps is a state AmeriCorps program that supports positions related to conservation and stewardship, environmental education, and sustainability. Your individual service site. The Utah Conservation Corps has partnered with your individual service site as a place for our AmeriCorps members to serve. These partnerships are based on common goals. You are serving as a Utah Conservation Corps individual placement AmeriCorps member, joining thousands of other AmeriCorps members across the country to make positive impacts in your community. Locally through the UCC, you serve with your host site to accomplish important goals related to environmental stewardship and education. So thank you so much for your service. The Utah Conservation Corps is a state AmeriCorps program. You have committed to an AmeriCorps term of service with the UCC. You will receive a living allowance. You'll also receive a Siegel AmeriCorps Education Award upon successful completion of your term. The Member Service Agreement, or MSA, is an official document that outlines the terms and provisions of your UCC AmeriCorps service. It is found on IPT. It includes service term dates, living allowance information, which is found on the PDF attachment near the bottom of the MSA form. It also includes the prohibited activities and requirements to receive your education award. Read through and reference this document. Let the UCC office know if you have any questions. Your IP manual. Read the manual and sign and submit the manual certification page found in the appendix. It is due within 2 weeks of your start date. Review the forms and document due dates reference page. Add these dates to your calendar. Refer to your manual when you have questions first. Living allowance and service hours. Your living allowance is a set total amount evenly distributed through your term based on the original term dates and your minimum service hour commitment. Payments are the same each pay date. This is not an hourly wage. It is your responsibility to stay on track to complete your hours required by your end date. We may adjust your end date, but not your payment schedule. So if you come up short by your end date, meaning if you haven't completed your hours by your end date, we cannot extend your payments, but we can extend your end date, which means you can finish out your hours. Living allowance payments. Your living allowance payments are paid on the 10th and the 25th of the month via direct deposit through Utah State University payroll system. The living allowance payments are subject to tax withholdings. You will log on to USU Banner Access at banner.usu.edu to find your electronic pay stubs, direct deposit information, and tax information, including your W-2 at the end of the year. Contact me as soon as possible if you have seen that you've missed a payment. Contact USU Payroll to make direct deposit or W-4 changes. The USU Employee Portal. You'll see on the left-hand side the USU Banner system at banner.usu.edu. Go ahead and navigate to the bottom left where it says Banner SSB/Access. That will take you to the Banner login page. In order to log in, you will need to log in with your USUA number and your strong password. You will need to set up your strong password at myid.usu.edu. Suspension of term. Your term of service may be suspended for compelling personal circumstances. This means like a surgery or a death in the family. Living allowance and other benefits are suspended for the duration of the term suspension. Suspension extends the time frame you may complete your term of service. Notify your site supervisor and the UCC office to evaluate and initiate your suspension. So go ahead and just email me or anyone at the office, and they'll get that information to me so that we can evaluate that and put the paperwork in that's necessary to move that forward. You cannot serve multiple AmeriCorps terms of service concurrently. So if you are in the middle of a term suspension, you can't go and serve another AmeriCorps term. Early release from a term of service. UCC and host sites will follow disciplinary policies and procedures if needed to release a member from service. If early release occurs, termination of living allowance and other benefits are effective immediately. Eligibility to receive the education award is forfeited. If a member is dismissed or leaves their term of service early or does not fulfill service requirements. Exceptions apply in situations of compelling personal circumstances, so please work closely with the UCC office in this situation. Exiting procedure. To successfully complete and exit your AmeriCorps term of service, you must have the following documentation submitted and approved by your end date. Number 1, service hour records on IPT totaling at least the minimum number of service hours defined in your service agreement. Number 2, exit form on IPT. Number 3, AmeriCorps exit form on My.AmeriCorps. Number 4, final progress and demographics report. Number 5, evaluations. So midterm evaluation is required for the 900, 1200, and 1700 hour members only, but everyone is required to fill out a final evaluation form. Number 6, UCC end of term survey. Check in with the UCC office as you approach the end of your service term so we can initiate the exiting procedure. Siegel Education Award. How to obtain it. Fulfill your term of service, your minimum number of hours, term dates, etc. Complete exiting procedure, access and direct your award through My.AmeriCorps.gov account. Using your education award. Federal student loans. Your Siegel Education Award can be applied toward federal student loans. You can also apply it toward future accredited schooling and training. If you're interested in attending an institution, you'll want to check on the address listed here to make sure that they can apply the Siegel Education Award. Your education award is good for 7 years. So FYI, AmeriCorps terms and education award limits. These are the different terms listed here on the top of the page. You can serve 4 state or national terms of service in your lifetime. You will not receive education awards beyond 2 AmeriCorps terms, but you can still enroll. So the 2 full-term education awards are cumulative of all AmeriCorps terms. If you have maxed out on your education award amount, but not the terms, you can still enroll and receive other AmeriCorps benefits. Enroll in longer terms of service to obtain a full 2 MSY before completing 4 terms of service. National Criminal History Check. This is required of all AmeriCorps members. You must be fingerprinted at an approved site with live scan services. Fingerprints will be submitted digitally. The UCC policy summary is that no murder convictions, sex offender conviction, or other convictions that pose risk to UCC, public, or participants. A member may be dismissed at the discretion of the UCC staff and host site superior if these things are reported on the background check. Disclosure is required. If something is going to appear on your record, you must disclose this to the UCC office. Health insurance. Access to health insurance through the healthcare.gov marketplace. You must enroll within 60 days of your start date. Utilize healthcare.gov services and resources. For 1,700 hour members, the UCC can reimburse up to $100 a month for medical and dental coverage. Note that if you are enrolled in a healthcare plan at the commencement of your AmeriCorps term of service, the UCC is unable to reimburse any associated costs. If you have a current medical plan and elect to enroll in a dental plan through the marketplace as an AmeriCorps member, UCC is unable to reimburse the costs of the dental plan. Childcare. Childcare is available for full-time 1,700-hour AmeriCorps members. Please contact me for more information and eligibility requirements. AmeriCorps Member Assistance Program. This is a useful hotline. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week. For more information, go to the UCC IP Google Resources folder and jot down that number. Additional benefits, you may be eligible for the following as an AmeriCorps member. Food stamps, not available if you are currently a student. UCC will provide a verification letter, so contact me to request that. Food stamps application is done through the Utah Department of Workforce Services in downtown Logan. Student loan forbearance on qualifying loans. Apply for this benefit through your My.AmeriCorps.gov account. Student loan interest accrual payback. Apply for this benefit through your My.AmeriCorps.gov account. Policies and procedures. You are responsible for reading the full policies and procedures, including in your USU SSC AmeriCorps manual. You will be held accountable to these in your AmeriCorps service role. Sign and submit your handbook certification by the second week of service. Prohibited activities highlights. As an AmeriCorps member, you may not do the following on AmeriCorps time: political advocacy, lobbying, etc., leading religious activities, providing direct benefit to or for profit entity, providing direct benefit to a for-profit entity, labor union, etc. Two important websites. IPT on the left-hand side, there's the login, and My.AmeriCorps, my.AmeriCorps.gov on the right. IPT is managed by the UCC, and My.AmeriCorps is managed by the National AmeriCorps Office. What is IPT? IPT is your official AmeriCorps member file for this particular AmeriCorps term. This is specific to UCC. You will record your service hours, manage enrollment forms, and other documentation. You will have different IPT accounts if you participate in more than one UCC or Utah State AmeriCorps program as an AmeriCorps member. Contact the UCC office for help with IPT. Intro to IPT. So the website is www.runipt.com. Your organization ID is UCOBAC. The username and password you choose and set. You will have an IPT account that stores required information for this UCC AmeriCorps term. IPT is secure and confidential. This is your official UCC AmeriCorps record. There is a screenshot of the homepage on IPT. What is IPT for? Keeping your contact information up to date on the student detail page, completing, signing, and storing your AmeriCorps enrollment forms, such as your member service agreement and enrollment form, reporting, signing, and tracking your service hours, connecting your profile with UCC staff and your site supervisor for form and service approvals, service hour approvals. There is a screenshot of the student detail page. Service hour records or timesheets. Service hours are submitted monthly through IPT. Following these instructions to properly document your hours. So number one, you will click the forms section of your IPT site. Access a particular service hour record using the view link circled on the left-hand side there. Parts of your service hour record on the left-hand side, record hours on appropriate date. Check the boxes that best describe your daily service activity. So you'll notice there in the middle, there is member development / training, volunteer recruitment, coordination management, no hours served, environmental education. So you'll check all the boxes, like if you did volunteer recruitment and you did environmental education and you did member development all in the same day, you'll check all of those. And then as you'll see in the red lettering on the top right, record hours in the appropriate column. So there's member development, direct service, and fundraising. You will split those hours up according to your activities and enter them accordingly. Service hour descriptions. The drop-down menu has predetermined service descriptions that you must use. Choose the one that best relates to your day-to-day service activities. So keeping in mind that the UCC cannot alter these, they're given to us by our federal partners at the national AmeriCorps level. So bear with us, we do the best we can, and just choose the one that best describes your service activities. So your description options, member development and / training, record in column 1, member development. Record only member development hours in this column. These are activities that you do within your position where you are being trained or educated to do your job, well, your service. Record hours in the member development column and on the date you are receiving this UCC AmeriCorps orientation. So right now you'll record these hours as member development. Member development can account for a maximum of 20% of your total service hours. Service hours descriptions. So environmental education, volunteer recruitment, coordination management, habitat restoration, trail construction and maintenance. Record in column 2, direct services. Hours for any of these activities must be recorded in the direct service column. Treat these categories very inclusively. All service you do at your site should be described as one or more of these 4 options. Direct service hours must account for at least 70% of your hours. By default, you should record hours as direct service. Completing a SHR or service hour record. You will click to electronically sign at the end of the month. The form will lock for editing once you have signed it. Your site supervisor will receive an email that your service hour record is ready to review and for approval. They must sign off on the hours. If your site supervisor finds anything that needs to be corrected, they will write it in this box. Your signature will be cleared and you will receive an email prompting the corrections. Monthly progress report. You are required to fill out volunteer mobilization, which is the number of volunteers and how many hours they're serving. Only record returning volunteers once during a period of a month. So if you have a return, a consistent volunteer that's returning more than one time, make sure over the period of a month, make sure that you're only recording them once. You will total up their hours. Tips: develop a system that works for you. Sign-in sheet for volunteers, etc. Work with your site supervisor too if you need to troubleshoot any issues or make things more streamlined. The other thing that's required is your great stories. It's about a transformative moment for you or another person during your time of service. What is optional is the personal narrative, which is a reflection, how you're feeling about the work you're doing, etc. Service hour rules. Record hours daily and click save on the form. Set a recurring reminder or put it on your daily schedule. Complete and sign service hour forms and progress report by the 5th of the following month. Set a reminder / put this on your schedule. Site supervisors or UCC will approve or send back your timesheets for corrections. Contact me if you need to make corrections after you and your site supervisor have signed. Do not record hours ahead of time. IPT dashboard feature. You will access your dashboard on your student detail page. The dashboard displays your cumulative hours count toward your minimum hour requirement. It also gives you an average hours per week that you need to put in to reach your hour requirement by your end date. Note that the hours per week is only accurate if you are up to date on recording your hours. Importance of data and documentation. Proper documentation of your service is a critical component of your position. You are asked to document the following: enrollment forms, service hours, quantitative data, and qualitative data. This is important for showing your impact on the community, showing the status as a AmeriCorps member and successfully completing your term, and helping secure the future for UCC and AmeriCorps funding. So thank you so much for working really hard to make sure that these numbers are accurate. They're really important to the sustainability of this program. So action, add the following to your calendar with reminders. Read and sign your handbook within 2 weeks of the start date. Add the documents and due dates found there. Timesheets and progress reports are due by the 5th of every month, so make sure that you also add that to your calendar, and make sure that you talk with your site supervisor and know when you're going to have site supervisor meetings and updates. And you can go over things like data and just make your service experience a more positive one. So thank you. Thank you for completing this training and for committing to the term of service with Utah Conservation Corps and your service site. If you have any questions regarding this information or anything else that you're wondering about your AmeriCorps service, can be directed to a staff member in the UCC office, me, amber.o'quinn@usu.edu, Sean Domitz, or anybody else is happy to help you in the office. I do want to end on our mission. The UCC mission is developing the conservation leaders of tomorrow, and we couldn't do this work without you. So thank you so much for your commitment and your service.